Hey there, everybody. I'm CCP Dolan here with CCP Rise, bringing you the very first match of the new Eden Open 2. We have Incursion Shiny Network in red versus the Freeloaders in blue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the teams they brought here?
All right, so in red for Incursion Shiny Network, they've brought a sort of, Slipner-based team, which is something we often see in tournament format. So 2 Slipners, a Gnosis, Scimitar for logistics, and then 4 frigates in the form of 2 Hawks and 2 Merlins. And then for the Freeloaders on the right, they've got a Navy Scorpion base, 2 of those, along with a Nighthawk, and then 2 Merlins, an Osprey for their logistics, 3 Merlins, sorry, a Condor, and that Osprey for logistics.
So I'm suspecting these are going to be cruise Navy Scorpions, I would suspect.
Yes, almost definitely. And we are underway now, guys.
So we'll have to see how well these frigate wings fare, because it's going to take a while to burn through these Navy Scorpions. We see Damps immediately falling down on the Navy Scorpions, trying to keep them out of the fight as much as possible. And Damps coming right across back on the Slipners, but that won't affect them nearly as much because they're looking to get enclosed anyway.
I'm going to try and keep an eye on the action, but we have a lot of stuff we have to catch you guys up on if you're new to watching tournaments in terms of the UI. The big things to pay attention to, the white bars are hit points next to every pilot name there.
So we just had the Osprey caught for the Freeloaders. Webbed and scrammed. We'll have to see if any damage was applied there.
Yep, so far he's thinking all right, but that is very important. In the middle, you'll see all the E-War counters. That's stuff that's happening to the person it's next to, so you can see the Ospreys webbed and scrammed. And then up on the top, you can see the defense, attack, and control bars. Those have to do with kind of aggregated stats around those 3 things, and we'll go into more detail about that later. But for now, the action is picking up. That Osprey starting to take pretty significant shield damage, and you can see the rest of the ISN team starting to catch up and get on top of him.
What a catch by the Scimitar, catching that Merlin in basically as little structure as you can possibly have with his reps on there. But we see the Osprey finally dropping for the Freeloaders. That's a big jump ahead for Incursion Shiny Network. With no reps on the field and that Merlin looking to be holding, they're going to have to switch target pretty soon.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to go for that Frig Wing next. For now, at least, we see Freeloaders Condor going down almost right away after the Osprey died. We'll have to see where those Slipners head to next.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they're not picking out any of these Slipners. They're going to be missing a lot of damage, even with these target painters with these cruise missiles on the frigate wing here. And they're also just hitting the Merlins instead of the Hawks, which will be doing significantly more damage.
It's possible that the Damps are making it very hard for them to choose their targets. That's something we always see in these tournaments. Damps are very powerful. I say that as a Slipner literally bumps into the Navy Scorpion, so that's probably not the case. But a lot of time you do have to clear off the frigs to try to get your kind of control of your targeting free, so you can shoot what you actually want to.
Yeah.
But
you can see here, Incursion Shiny Network has actually switched over to primarying this Navy Scorpion for Freeloaders, but you can see just from the defense bar the massive amount of tank that these Navy Scorpions have. They'll be boosting. They have massive passive tanks anyway, so we'll have to see if they can actually burn them through if they start losing ships in the process of doing that.
Looks like the Navy Scorpion, even though it lost its logistics, is boosting back shield, so there's probably an ASB on there. Navy Scorpions, of course, extremely tanky. They have 8 mids, if I remember correctly. They have a resist bonus to their shields, so they can field a pretty gigantic tank. But in the meantime, Freeloaders losing more frigates. They just lost another Merlin, their last one, looking like it's in trouble as well.
Yep, this is going to be a case where the entire frigate wing has been dominated. There's nothing going to be really able to tackle these Slipners or prevent them from dictating range, and so they'll just be able to damp out anything. If they get primated, they'll just be able to damp out those Navy Scorpions, fly away, boost back up, and come back in for more. As I say that, the Scimitar taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it's possible that that's kind of the target they really wanted the whole time. I know there's been painters on him for a while. Maybe his ASB is down now. Or maybe they were finally able to get both Scorpions on him or something. But he's starting to take quite a bit of damage. But in the meantime, of course, that first Navy Scorpion for the Freeloaders is starting to get towards armor.
So we know that the Incursion Shiny Network team has enough damps to damp both Navy Scorpions, but they're choosing to only damp the primary here, which is a little bit silly. But the Scimitar has reloaded its ASB. It's back to boosting. Let's see if it can hold. This is actually going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, they
boost.
Looks like they might actually get that Scimitar down. Yeah, down it goes.
There we go.
So nice kill there for the Freeloaders. That opens up the chance they can kill a lot more ships on the field. Probably the Gnosis wouldn't be too tough of a target. The Hawks are going to be hard, but they could take out Merlins. Looks like they're going to go for that Gnosis next.
And you can see here they're actually about even on points, even losing their entire frigate wing and that and their logistics. The single Scimitar loss has evened it up pretty closely.
Of course, one thing that's going to happen in this tournament, we're all excited to see how the meta develops. There's a lot of really good teams here, and this is a fairly new format, having only 8 pilots. But something that's possible is that because there's less ships in general in the field, the overall DPS is lower. So something like this Scorpion being able to actually tank a significant chunk of a team by itself is not out of the question. And in the Alliance tournament, at least in the last year's format, which was 12 ships, that would have been pretty difficult. So
this Gnosis staying in Newt range is going to be bad news bears. That Gnosis is going to have the links for the entire Incursion Shine Network team. It might be just time for them to back off and sort of just let the time run out. I don't. Well, as I say that, they're breaking the Navy Scorpion, so.
Yeah, it looks like the Gnosis started boosting again, although his ASB should run out fairly soon, and that Scorpion is struggling now, going into deep armor. But I think what you said is absolutely true. There's no reason to have that Gnosis close enough to be targeted by the Navy Scorpions. They could easily just scoot him out and put the damps on both Scorps, and he shouldn't take any damage. But it probably won't matter, as the first Navy Scorpion just has left the field.
There we go. And that's really half of the complete damage core of the Freeloaders gone.
Maybe like 2/5.
We'll say that, yeah, okay.
All right.
All right, all right. I just rounded up. It's one of those things I like to do. So we're going to see here. It's essentially just a time game now if they take out the last Navy Scorpion or not. If the Gnosis pilot is smart, he has no tackle on him, he should be able to get in and out of that damp range pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It is interesting, like you said earlier, that they're only damping one of the Navy Scorpions, so at least one of them could shoot whatever it wanted. It looks like just these two freeloader ships may be able to take that Gnosis out before the end of the match, but unless the Scorpion's able to tank because of that, for the rest of the match, it probably won't make any difference. Well, down it goes.
Take the Nighthawk.
That's a nice kill. It seems like a really unnecessary kill to give up. I'm not sure why they would do that.
Especially considering there's only so many Gnosises in Evil Line. It's a very large but limited amount. So one less.
Large but limited.
Make your investments now. So we see they're picking on the Nighthawk now. I think they've realized that they don't really have enough time left in the match, or with their Gnosis gone, to be able to duke it out with this Navy Scorpion. I think probably picking this fight. I don't know how separated the Navy Scorpion and the Nighthawk are, but it might just be a case of damping out the, as I say that, they lose the Merlin, so obviously some damage is still coming across here.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's still, even with the damp there, I mean, Nighthawk isn't damped, and it seems like the Navy Scorpion's shooting as well, so they are still able to apply damage. They're going for another Merlin now, and they really could catch up in points if Incursion Shining Network isn't able to break one of these ships, and Freeloaders are able to, I assume they'll be able to kill this Merlin. We'll have to see if they're able to kill anything else. The rest of the ISN team gets more tanky after this Merlin, but
they appear to be just like
it's not out of the question
0.
that they catch up.
They're just sitting at 0 on this Nighthawk, so. Well,
it's so strange. Like, yeah, you see that Merlin right there just orbiting. And orbiting, you know, keeping up velocity will limit a significant portion of the damage coming from the missiles from both the Freeloader ships, but he should definitely just be going for outside damp range and not taking any damage.
As the Nighthawk goes down, the Nighthawk is going to set them so far back.
Yeah, Merlin down for ISN. It does look like they are going to be able to break that Freeloader's Nighthawk. He is in deep armor now.
Yep, and he's going to pop and go down, and then that's going to set them so far behind in points. They need to take out both Slipners to catch up, I think.
Really a pretty close match, though, considering. I mean, taking out the Osprey immediately made it look like ISN should have had this really easily, and instead it ended up being a bit of a struggle.
Well, they are Incursion runners. They don't have any T3s on the field there. They could just say, like, all right, we're just going to make sure this match ends as quickly as possible. Everybody go in. We know that numbers-wise, we can just brawl and we'll still win.
Yeah, it just seems like that wasn't totally obvious. Like, they pushed it a bit, you know? I mean, I do get that sentiment. It's not like they're investing a ton in that strategy, but it's a little risky. Of course, one thing we didn't cover during the rules in the intro is that this is a double elimination format tournament.
So it's important to note that the match points actually don't matter. It's only who wins the match.
The points matter in that they decide who wins the match.
Yes.
But they do not go on to contribute to any like group total or anything like that. So.
Exactly.
So, right, it doesn't matter how much you win by, but it is very important not to let somebody just barely get more points than you and give you a loss. So.
Yep, we also have some very special and entertaining rules for instance, ties and all sorts of stuff, which I'm sure we'll cover later in the day.
I hope so, because I don't know them, so
okay, I'll cover them and educate the CCP Rise at the same time. It'll be a wonderful experience for all of us.
Minute 30 left in the match. This last Navy Scorpion is probably going to go down before the match ends. It's hard to say. He's boosting still. One thing, you know, it may look weird. I know a lot of people watch tournaments who aren't actually playing tons of Eve necessarily. It's always fun to watch the tournament, even if you're just a former Eve player. You may notice the Slipners there look like Hurricanes. Something that will come up a lot in this tournament is we've been just on a balance frenzy in the last year or two, and most of the ships in the game have been rebalanced or changed fairly recently. The Slipner and the Nighthawk both got a pass really recently. The Navy battleships did as well, and part of that command ship pass was putting the other set of battlecruiser models onto the half of the command ships.
What's your favorite balance pass since you started balancing?
Probably the battleships. I am pretty happy with the way that came out. Dominic's, of course, is, you know, been a little touchy here and there, but I think for the rest of it, it's gone pretty well.
What's your favorite battleship to fly yourself?
That's tough. Probably.
I know mine.
What's yours?
Mine is a micro jump drive rapid heavy missile launcher Raven.
You stole that from me. You saw me using that, and that's why you said that. You've never flown it.
No, I have. The Raven has been my favorite ship for a very, very long time.
15 seconds left.
There we go. We'll wrap this up pretty soon. But
yeah,
you
we
can
will wrap this up.
You can see my Torp Raven on the top of many a super kill mail, actually. So.
Your Torp rapid heavy missile launcher?
No, that was before rapid heavy missile launchers were a weapon system in the game.
Okay.
And that's going to be the match, everyone. Incursion Shiny Network taking a handy lead.
Yeah.
Very first victory of the New Open 2. We're going to throw it back to ourselves in the studio in just a couple seconds.